Hello. On January the 3rd, 1993, I was just 24 years old. I was married with 2 young children. And at that time, I was working as a roofing labourer on a construction site. I was not a roofer by trade. This was a time of the 90s recession. Work had been hard to come by. January 3rd was also the first day back after the Christmas holidays. And that Christmas, a particularly bad Christmas at home. We arrived on site that day and it was a cold, foggy, icy day. And in those days you didn't want to be on a construction site. But there passed by up until around 2:30 in the afternoon when things changed. The rush job came in, the unplanned work. We was asked if we could try and get a 2-hour job done in 1 hour as it was getting dark. And as a contractor on site, always eager to please the client, we decided to give it a go. Back across my boss, he went up onto the roof, but I was stood at the bottom because something's not right. The ground conditions that day were terrible. The ladder was not secured. I stopped, I thought about it, and thought to myself, crack on. Got to the roof, got the job done. And when we finished, I was the first one down. And now the ladder is being footed. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I get to the bottom rung. The guy who was footing there, thinking I was down, moves away. But I was called back up the ladder. As I went back up, got about halfway, I feel for that slip and I fall. I cambered on the ground, a little bit winded, but I actually thought to myself, I'm okay. And it was only when I tried to sit up, it was actually the first time that I became aware I could not feel my legs. And so an ambulance was called, rushed me to the local hospital, where initially I was taken for an x-ray. Get taken aside to wait for results. And the door opened, the doctor walked in with a big smile on his face. And I was watching him walk towards thinking, well, if he's smiling, then this is going to be good news. Came to the side of the bed and said, you have been very lucky. You are suffering from a condition known as spinal shock. You've had a real nasty fall. And hopefully over the next couple of hours, a couple of days, it could even be a few weeks, you will gradually get all your sensations back. Just think yourself very fortunate. But he then sent me for a CT scan for a closer look, just to make sure. So go off for the scan. I came back into the room. Wife, she was now sat on the side. This time the OPC walks in and he's not smiling. And straight away, before he'd even spoke to me, I knew. And this time he came, he sat at the side of the bed and said, we have found a small fracture in your back and you have suffered massive spinal injuries. And then he simply said, you will never walk again. And with that, he just stood up and he walked out the room. Now, when I give my full presentations, I will talk to you about the impact that has had on my life, my family, and my friends over the last 30 years. But today, I want to talk about why I did what I did that day. You know, the run up to Christmas has been pretty bad. Marriage problems, debt issues. That Christmas, we had a really bad Christmas at home. And my mindset on the day of that morning, I'd been to a party the night before my accident, where I got very, very drunk. In fact, on the morning, I can remember the supervisor picking me up and I was still drunk over from the night before. In fact, he let me sleep on my backseat of the car on the way to site. Not everybody will have had a good Christmas this year. And if you are struggling with any problems from home, financial, marriage problems with the children, today's the day you speak up. My accident on the very first day of going back to work. And January is notoriously a bad month for accidents. People in a bad mindset, it's dark days, cold, foggy, icy. So if you are struggling, especially with your mental health, please speak up. Thank you.